3 weeks after the High Court wounded the government's Malaysia Solution, the opposition has delivered the knockout blow. The Gillard government's second attempt to woo Tony Abbott's support for the plan failed in spectacular fashion this afternoon. Barring a legislative miracle, the opposition's move virtually guarantees future asylum claims will be processed onshore. Our political correspondent Tommy Gooden reports from Canberra.
The Prime Minister's been looking for a political compromise with Tony Abbott, but he's been playing it cool.
Hello.
First, he humbled her by demanding changes to her initial proposal.
I've provided those amendments, that new draft, to the Leader of the Opposition today.
Now he's embarrassed her following a meeting this afternoon in the Prime Minister's office.
Arguably, the government's proposal today is actually an inferior proposal to the one last Friday.
The new proposal did what Mr Abbott asked, adding references to human rights protections, including crucial guarantees that asylum seekers' claims would be processed and that they wouldn't be returned to countries where they'd face harm. But those guarantees weren't legally binding, and the opposition leaders thrown the second proposal back in the government's face.
We are putting a counter-proposal to the government's proposal.
The opposition's counter-proposal would allow offshore processing only in countries who've signed the UN's Refugee Convention. Malaysia hasn't. Nauru, which is Mr Abbott's preferred option, has.
Processing in Nauru avoids the sorts of difficulties that processing in Malaysia inevitably will entail. I would like to think that just as I've considered the government's proposal, the government will now consider our proposal.
Now, we will be introducing this legislation on Wednesday, and we will not be accepting the opposition's amendments. Nauru is not a disincentive in and of itself. It's expensive, and we would not be going down that road.
The legislation's now got little chance of passing, with the Greens dismayed at the government's attempted deals with Tony Abbott.
But the race to the bottom continues.
Though both the main parties want offshore processing, its days as a policy option look numbered.
It's onshore processing. That's the obvious result if the legislation doesn't pass. He doesn't want to stop people smuggling because he wants to keep his three-word slogans.
Since the current government gave the people smugglers a business model, we've had 240 boats and 12,000 illegal arrivals. The current government is responsible for the existing position.
And so as the leaders of the major parties squabble, it looks as though the chips will fall the way of the Greens and Labor backbenchers who've been campaigning against the Malaysia Solution. They'll take little comfort, though, from the fact that Julia Gillard's hand was forced not by their concerns, but by Tony Abbott's intransigence. Tom Iggleton, Lateline.